Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today I will give you a kind of a pattern, a practice pattern, but which is kind of like also a source material for like improvisation. And this I composed some years ago, and I really am coming back to that very often, and I really like that pattern, and yeah, so I want to share that with you. Down in the description below you find the link for the PDF, and there you see like the notation of that. You get this the sheet, and so it would be good to download that, because I'm referring here to this PDF, and also it supports this channel, of course, so it would be great thing. Thanks. All right, so this pattern actually is like really connected with this framework one we talked about, like the root and the fifths of a scale or of a tonality. So this very strong foundation, or like very strong like gravitational construction, which really gives us a root as a tonic. I mean if you have the perfect fifth, you have the fifth, which is really, I mean the root, which is really strong, which is really like tonic function, and really confirmed in that function by the fifths. Of course, it is like really related to the harmonic series, but we talked a lot about that. So if you're not sure what that means here, like tonal framework, or you don't get this idea, please check out the lessons on tonal framework. There are some lessons about that here also on Guitar Academia. All right, I will just play you the pattern first, so that you get an idea, and then we will talk a little bit about that. And I'm doing that pattern as it is written in the D Aeolian scale, D Aeolian mode. Okay, so let's listen. Okay, so I think it'd be a good idea to tune the guitar. We are dealing with a lot of perfect fourths and fifths here in this pattern, which is really, I have the feeling that bit at these limits of our like tonal system with these 12 tones, because like the fifths are never like perfect, or also the fourths are never perfect. So like any tuning discrepancy will make it worse, or make it just right, but then if it's right, then another fourths or fifths with that string pair would be like off. Yeah, I mean, if you know these different these deviations, these cent deviations of these perfect intervals, then you will understand. But of course, I mean, also the guitar has its weaknesses. Time? Sounds better. Okay, that is just that is just the pattern, and for me it really reminds me a lot to like more medieval kind of a sound. Also like Gregorian chant, or like Arvo Pärt. He uses these things sometimes in. It's also a little bit sometimes connected to this Tintina Bully style, which he's composing in. I'm not really sure whether that is like pronounced the right way. But he has invented a very kind of interesting, actually very simple kind of technique, but it's very efficient, and it really he can really use that to compose that music where you really have a feeling that's his fingerprint, but at the same time it seems like really also timeless in a way, and that's actually quite connected with that pattern. This kind of I mean, yeah, there's very many musical connections which I feel they're like, for example, for like Bulgarian folk music, also these yeah, this kind of this kind of Bulgarian, maybe you hear that, you heard this also this choir, the very famous choir, Les Rois du le mystère de Roi Bulgare, or something like French. It's like the mystery of the Bulgarian voices is a very, very famous Bulgarian choir, and I listen to that a lot actually. And basically what makes this so unique, this choir, also because they use very many of these typical like folk music devices, and of course they are really good and really like exact singing and techniques, and they have also a special way of singing. But that's also this is also this sound also happens when just like they have like a duo, like folk music in a village somewhere in Bulgaria. You know, there's a village and they just sing together, like two voices, like maybe two female voices, two women sing together, and they have all these also major seconds and maybe sometimes minor seconds really happening, like clashing, you know, but it's really yeah, it's really nice, it's really beautiful and really expressive also. And so I hear that kind of a connection here, and it's of course the whole thing is very much about counterpoint also, huh? So you have always like two voices, and mostly it's like oblique motion. That means like one voice stays like, and what I'm just doing now is exactly what also this pattern is meant for. It's not like you just play it and that's it. It's more that it really gives you material, fragments to improvise with, because you always have this kind of a framework sounding. Yeah, always one note of the framework is present. Like in this case it's D Aeolian, so the D or the A, and also very often like all the I mean it works actually that the other notes of the D minor triad, and especially the fifths and the root, that they are kind of approached. Yeah, so like. So what you have, yeah, I will talk about that now. That's a good idea. So to talk a little bit what actually happens there. That's so that might be interesting. So what we do here, we go from a minor third, and that's the root and the minor third of the chord or the scale or the tonality, because it sounds as we are that we are in D minor. Later on we will change also, but now we are really yeah, that's the keynote. Okay, so we have a D minor, and then we go to the perfect fifth, to have a very stable sound there. That's really our framework here, the perfect fifth. And we use the note in between just as a passing tone. We just like a passage from F to A, and I really also feel that as like strong beat, weak beat, strong beat. Like for example, in here it's written as a kind of a pickup. So it's in 2/4 here. So it's 1 and 2 and 4, 1. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 1. And that is something you all already can use for improvisation, of course. You can really go between these. Yeah, so I'm using this G now as a kind of like a passing tone, like auxiliary, as non-harmonic tone also. So it's always only for approaching. Yeah, it's only like for have this kind of a changing pattern. And I know my D and F is really the strong sound, the basic chord and or framework, and or I have D, G, and this thing here. Just the same thing, but I have A and D, and then my G is kind of this approach. And I don't go to G, because if I would go to G, we can also do that when we combine that later with going to different chords. That's also something what happens. What we can do to just really change the chord, in this case to G. Like G, maybe Voiceleading or a Dorian. So if we do that, actually, that we suddenly approach G as our center, like we always say that's our important note, then it really gets also confirmed by the D here to be our new root. So we have a sort of a chord change there. Let's listen to that. First the D minor. I think it's like kind of really fascinating how we can completely change the root or the gravitational forces just by taking a little bit like a melodic shift, that we really think now G is our important note. And of course, I mean, you can really very much explain that with a harmonic series, of course, huh? Because now we are in the harmonic series of D when we have A and D, yeah. And when we do that, we are definitely not we in a way we destroy the harmonic series of D. We are really in the harmonic series of G. Yeah, we are really this is our Okay, so that's a really cool thing, and you really have to be aware of that, huh? If you just don't know that, maybe you sometimes wonder why sometimes it sounds as D minor and sometimes not, or you can really very deliberately use these notes and really make this change very obvious. Yeah, that you really. Then you really always alternate between these two chords or two tonal centers, I would say. Of course, we have a D minor chord, which is really complete, and then we have a passing tone here, the G, and but then we miss the third. If we go to G here, in this case, we have the fifths, yeah, confirming the G as a root, but we have like two like neighbor tones. We have like the leading tone to G and the upper second, which is also called sometimes like a supertonic, just the second degree. And we use that, of course, not to go there, but to go from there back to G, to confirm the G as our home base. Yeah, we want to go home. And it's a bit like D really feels like the home, and G feels like a bit like we have a kind of a excursion. We go somewhere in the garden or something like that, and we're happy there, but then we also go back. It's a bit like if we are too long in the garden, we want to go back to the house and make some coffee. Okay, I think that's already quite beautiful. I like that, and it's really interesting when you go deeper into that, and when you really ask yourself, what is happening there, and why is this happening, and then how can I make this note be my center, my gravitational center, and how can I make the other note now, so that the whole thing will change, and so knowing all the stuff about like the harmonic series and so on, it's really like you really get into, and especially when you do like these kind of very simple things, you really feel like there's actually so much going on, and you kind of you're able to understand that, and then you enjoy to be really deep into this very simple thing. Okay, so let's go on. We talked about the first thing here. So this we talked about, and now we go to our root. Yeah, our way is like really going home here. So it's like. And when we reach that root, we also add the framework note, the perfect fourth. Yeah? And this really also really confirms, of course, it's the perfect fifth of the tonality, and still we are in D, so it really confirms the D as our root. Yes, it's again confirmed. And it's the same relationship we had when we changed to G, yeah, from here. Yeah, to make G as our tonic. Now we stay in D, and we go to D, and we confirm this D with having the A. So this is actually like from framework 1. Yeah, what's happening here from that framework. And we take this kind of a passing tone, the E here. And the interesting thing here is that when we go to E, that we also play the D. We still play the D. So the D is really like always there. this idea of this drone kind of thing. It's really like a little bit this Bulgarian. You have to check out Bulgarian folk music, like when they're singing like two women. This is like the thing. Okay, so you have this really this. It's really like a tension, but it's really also not like a tension in the sense that it's really disturbing. No, it's very clear what's happening there. It's very clear and obvious, because what I played before and what I will play after, that my D is still my tonal center, is my root, is my that's the framework, the most stable note, the gravitational force, like the point of gravitational power, the center of gravitation, so to speak, of this whole thing. So E is really getting this kind of tension function, and it's really clear, because you have to know that once you have a second, a major second or a minor second, they're always in trouble. They're always fighting against each other, and they always try to rule the thing. Yeah, both of these notes, they fight together, and every note wants to be kind of the king in this thing, and wants to have just the other as just like a helping hand or something like that. It's really like this interval really needs a kind of that you make this relationship clear in a way. Yeah, it can be really disturbing. Yeah? Maybe you have heard about this rule to not have a minor second above a chord tone in just these like chords, seventh chord triads, whatever. So this is like a kind of a special treatment. Yeah? You have to give to these minor or major seconds in a chord. Yeah, and also this leap from having just a triad, just a major, minor, diminished, augmented triad, which has no minor or major or no seconds at all in this structure. This leap to adding the sevenths. This brings us this brings us almost always at least a major second or a minor second, and so this is like a very different sound what's happening, and then when we add the sevenths, we really have to make clear the structure should be really designed like that really the root is still the prominent dominant note there, that really the seventh is just an added color. Yeah, so it's always like if you have a second, and what I'm just told you was this because between sevenths and the octave or sevenths and the root, you have this second, and that's always the case. Yeah, when it's very different when I have thirds or fourths or fifths, and then suddenly, then the fight began or begins. So it's yeah. But in this case, we really make sure that we can really enjoy this tension. We can really, oh, it's nice. It's really strong in a way. But it's really beautiful. And we can do that, I think, only because we are so much settled in this key, in the D. So we really know that the E is just a color in a way, just a tension which doesn't disturb our sense of tonality. Okay. So let's do this phrase up until there. Okay. so you get this idea, and I just improvise a little bit with that. So that's, for me, that's really inviting. I really enjoy this sound, and it's just two notes, but it has this. There's a lot of things happening, because also you have counterpoint in a way, and it's also very easy in a way to improvise with that, because you in a way you just have to care about one note, and the other note will just remain unchanged there. Okay, when we go on, we have actually the same relationship as I explained when we went to G as a new tonic. So this kind of that's really clear, and I think you really understand that now when we play that, and when you see it also on the page. And now we go on, and what we will do, that's also kind of interesting. When I went to that framework, here, the perfect fourth of the framework. So I went to D as my root here. It was cool to play this, to add the E, so to add a second above that framework note, because it was a D, it was a strong note, and we just talked about that. So that's nice. Doing the same with the A here, to go to that framework, excerpt to the perfect fifths here. Of course, it's a minor second, but it will also, the same will be true for if it's a major second. If I play the whole thing in Dorian, and you can, of course, change the scales. Yeah, that's also very this pattern is really made for like any scale, and it's also written there for any scale, which is like a heptatonic, which has a root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Yeah, when you have all these 7 notes, you can just take any scale. Yeah, and especially when the 1 and the first, third, and 5th degree are really forming a triad, but it can be also like a diminished triad or augmented triad. But diminished triads also work very well, actually. So when I go to Dorian, actually, it's a bit like it's good, it's cool. You can do that, but the ear is not accepting that in the same way as this dissonance here. Yeah, this major second here, because this major second is really strong. It's really rooted with a root, and this is rooted with a perfect fifth of the framework, and that's a little bit like little bit more dangerous. That's why I don't do that in the pattern here. Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. I mean, actually my ear is telling me that, and I composed it that way, but now as I think about that, I have the feeling, yeah, actually that has to do with that. And so when I do that, I don't go to, but I go to just a single note, and then I play the framework to be really settled here. Yeah, so I started with, then I go here, and later on I will be here. You really see this framework notes. They are really like prominent. One of the notes is always there. Yeah, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. Okay, But I'm not in Dorian. Let's go back to this phrase here on the page. Yeah. So Aeolian. Okay. And now I'm thinking about this very strong framework thing here, and I approach this A. Very often the sevenths, and of course especially the minor sevenths, and in this case it's also the minor sixths here, they really have the tendency to go, yeah, to go down to the fifths and stay there. So you can either go with the sevenths up, but then it also, the sevenths really leads you very nicely down to the fifths, and that's these both concepts we have in our pattern. So we have, yeah, it's a little bit like an embellished resolution here. It's not direct, but it's like this enclosure thing. We come from both sides. Yeah, we come from there and we come from there, but we do that. It's the same like, okay. And so we have, and then we go down. And then we kind of repeat this, but with a low root here. It's really like a strong pedal there. Yeah, that's really the like authentic framework, you can say, authentic framework one. Here we really have the fifth in the lower version of the harmonic series, yeah? Between the second and third partial. And that's again like this enclosure thing, like this embellished resolution of the G. Yeah, so G goes to A and B flat goes to A, so we have and then we are here, and then we do the same phrase what we did in the beginning, or starting phrase, but an octave lower. So in a way, this whole phrase has also kind of a form. Yeah, it goes back to the beginning. There's some development. It ends at one octave lower. So there's, I think, I don't know. I could maybe just go even more into that phrase and try to find out what's actually happening. Yeah, just from note to note and from interval to interval and how the framework is there, how maybe other little frameworks are shown very briefly in a way. I will not do that, but I feel I feel this phrase, this pattern, this or study, whatever you want to call that, it's actually, for me, it's a small, like a composition which you can use for many things later for altering that. This is really like, it has there's some truth in that, and I feel like this is like, it's very strong, I think. It also took me a little bit to compose that. Yeah? It sounds very simple, but to really get everything right rhythmically and choice of notes, and to be really to make this kind of more and more perfect in a way, it took me some time. So I already showed you a little bit how to improvise with that. But now let's go on to the next to the next patterns on the page. You have two patterns where it's more like a scale kind of a thing, where you always have the root, the tonic of the scale sounding. So in this case, this circled 5 means you play on the 5th string, yeah? And the D, and then on the other strings you play the scale up and down, up to the 6th and back. And the numbers are the scale degrees, and you have these little stars, this asterisk, I think it's called. So these are the non-chord tones. The notes of the framework are the DFA, so the notes of the triad. So it's framework 1, DA, like authentic framework, where you add the 3rd, yeah, which it's not destroying the framework, it's more like adding color to that, and in a way also supports this framework. And then you have the non-chord tones, E, G, B flat and C, which are in a way work a little bit against it. So you have to be careful with them. They are create tension, and you have to resolve them, or you have to play them not too long and not we talked a lot about framework, so if you're interested in that, or you do not really get it, maybe there are some lessons on framework, 1, 2, and framework 3, and more about framework, and I think that's really important to know this also this connection of music, of these intervals to the harmonic series. Okay, so at the beginning we have it in D. We have it actually kind of easy, because we play our D here on the 5th string, and then we can use our open string. We will see that when we change to other notes, we can't do that. So we really have to stretch in a way. When we change to other scales, to other chords, and then of course we don't have always this same note as a open string. So, but in this case, it's just going straight forward here. We start with D, and always keep the D on the 5th string, and then it's going. Yeah, and we end on F. So it's really like also about this D minor triad here in a way. Yeah, and when you analyze that, you really see, okay, all the chord tones always come on the beat, like on the quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the passing tone will always be on a weak beat. Yeah, so they always they don't have the chance to rule. Yeah, they're just always a bit in the corner. And by the way, you always see these boxes, and these boxes always indicate that is the framework. So always, if you have D and A, because that's our framework 1, you see this box there, and you really can see very, very quick. Okay, that's all framework. That's all like confirmation. That's strong. There we show that, and you also see like like this proportion of framework and not framework, which is also kind of interesting here, I think. Because when you just play things in any way, you sometimes you lose a little bit, or it's hard to get a to get a sense how much you show a certain note, or how long you stay on certain notes. It's when you play, you sometimes you completely lose the sense of time. So it's actually, I think it's quite interesting to see that you play it, and then you see how much framework is used, and sometimes in this case, you think maybe you are also a little bit surprised, because it's just a little bit some approaches around that. Yeah, it looks like you really have the framework all the time, and just some approaches there. Okay, let's go to the second pattern, which is just a scale down with a little going to the leading tone. And we start with C, and the lower note will be also the C, so this leading tone. We do it like, there are actually two ways. We can do it like that. We can also do it like that. Or in this case, actually, we can also use, that's also, like if you really have the open string, we can also do that. Yeah, that's also possible. But later on, you will see that is not very practical, and also we can only use it for the structures or for the scales which have these open string right in the same octave we need it. So let's go on. Next page, some embellishments of the root. Yeah, our most important tone, gravitational center. One embellishment is going just up. 2 Ds, then we go with 1 D, we go to E. So we always have two melodies. That's something you really have to consider. Yeah? It's always like we always have, that's there and that's there. Always two melodies. Yeah, it's not like, sounds very different also. No, it's, also has to do with timbre, of course, huh? That you always have this D here with the same color sounding, and you are on that string, and this string has a different timbre. If I play here, it sounds different than that. And of course, like having like 2 Ds, also because they are not tuned maybe perfectly, they also create a kind of fuller sound, and yeah, it is as there if like two people would sing there. Actually, just one note, because that's in my head now. It's not always like necessary that if you play both tones together that it's more like louder in a way, which has to do with phase issues sometimes, like the waveforms. Sometimes they work against each other. Yeah? When the one is the loudest, the other is maybe the softest, and then they in a way they're also they cancel out each other. So this can really happen. That's also quite interesting when you play these two notes and then when you stop the other. I mean, here it's quite they really add in a way, I feel. But sometimes it's really strange because you play these two notes together, same note, and then you stop one and you have the feeling it's getting louder. And I think that really has to do with like phase issues. So that's just a side story here, but yeah, it's related, quite related to that. Okay, so we can go up to the neighbor, to the upper neighbor, but we can also go down to the lower neighbor. Then we take the other string, yeah, or we can have combinations there. It's all the same then, huh? It's like, or without the first one, it's like okay, I hope you got this idea. And what's yeah, and this is a real nice pattern, I think, and it really gives you this picture, a very clear, crystal clear picture of a chord scale. Yeah, everything is there. It's diatonic. You have all the 7 notes of the scale, and you play them in a way that you really confirm the root of the scale. Okay, so let me just play a little improvisation with that with what we talked about, like these different phrases, and listen, just listen to that, what how it sounds. And so on. So that's just really, really only using this material, yeah. And you can use it quite freely, of course, because once you understood these patterns, it's really clear how you have to use them, and yeah, you learn them, and they really also come into the ear like very quick. So I think it's you will have a lot of fun with doing that. Now, now it becomes really cool and much more, maybe also much more interesting when we actually change to another sound. So for example, what we can do, we can like a very beautiful change is if we take for example like Dorian. Dorian, let's maybe stay in the same with the same note. So let's take G Dorian, and because G Dorian and D Aeolian, D minor Aeolian have the same note. So now we have G Dorian. Okay, and when we have Dorian, it's really nice to change between this G Dorian to F major. So to go and then going to and then back. got this idea, you understood what we are talking about, and you like that sound, and because it's really a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun when you are in that kind of improvisation, and it's also like this idea of you can just play that by yourself. You know, you always have the comping line and the melodic, like the soloist and the comping you do at the same time. Yeah, it's like very minimal, of course, the whole thing, but it's it's really, I mean, I really enjoy improvising with that, and at the same time it teaches you so much stuff, you know. I mean, you have to learn the notes on the fretboard. You really have to know what you are doing and where you are. That you when you are on G, that you really show D and G always with this other voice, with a lower voice. And when you're on F, you show F and C. So you really have to know where those notes are, and then also the other notes, of course, you have to know, and have to know how they are used. So you really have to be careful that you know, okay, that's a third now, that's a fifth, that's a fourth, that's just a passing tone, that's a second, that goes to the one. And it's like instant composing in a way, with very, very strict and clear rules. Although you can be really inventive with that. Yeah, you can really, actually you can play any melody, and you always know for every melody note you have at least one choice, what kind of accompaniment which note you add to that. So yeah, it's a very strict kind of a system also at the same time, and to really know the notes over your whole fretboard, and yeah, and also your ear, it teaches also your ear, because you hear these different chord scales. You really hear the sound of G Dorian and F major, and of course later on, like also other structures. What did I say? Like A Locrian, yeah. Then D harmonic minor fifth mode, and G minor. Yeah, you can just go through chord progressions with that. That's really also a cool idea. Let's try that. This was like the first 8 bars of All the Things You Are, of this jazz standard. You can just do it like that, you know, and it sounds very different. Of course, that's not a jazz standard anymore, but it's beautiful, you know, and I really enjoy these sounds a lot, actually. So for me, they are the most pure and the strongest sounds, and to add all these kind of different notes. You can say you gain something, like, you know, if you have full chords, like also 4-part structures and whatever, you can say you gain something, but you also lose something. That's really like, yeah, you have to be sure about that. It's not that you have a perfect fifth and you think, oh, that's a cool sound, I will add some notes to that. Then you also will lose something. It's not that kind of pure perfect fifth anymore. Of course not. Okay, anyway, I could now talk forever, as you might notice. Yeah, yeah, so I will just, that's the lesson. You got this PDF down in the description below. Download that and have that also to practice that and to support this channel, of course. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also to click the bell button, then you get notifications when a new video will be released, which is the case every week here on this channel. And down in the description below you also find a link to my website, hoophildenbrand.com, and the Guitar Academia page there. There is a button where you can also donate. So to support my work here on this channel would be a real cool thing to do. I would be really happy if you want to get more involved here and so make the whole thing, sharing all this stuff, a lot of fun and make it really work. So it would be really great if you do that. All right, so yeah, that's it. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. My name is